What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and this video is going to be about Resident Evil Revelations 2 Raid Mode. Now, I know most of you are probably thinking, it's like, well, this video is way overdue, but what I was waiting for was I bought the boxed copy of Resident Evil Revelations 2 on PC, because I was waiting for the entire thing to come out, because they released the box version in stores, which would have all the season pass content plus a little bit more. Now, shortly before release, I found out that they actually added a digital box version, as little sense as that makes, onto Steam, which would have included absolutely everything that my box version included. But it didn't really matter. My disc version, I redeemed the code on Steam. I didn't even install it from the discs, mind you. I just came home, redeemed it on Steam, and downloaded it. And it turned out to be €10 cheaper than the Steam version, so I was happy about that. So obviously the game has been out for a while, but I waited even longer, not just to get my copy, but I wanted to finish story mode so that I could unlock the most amount of stuff at once without waiting too long, if you will. And then they went the whole thing with online co-op being added into a patch in raid mode at a later date, which turned out to be March 31st. I decided that now would be the best, or well, at least over the last few days would be the best time to play it. So I waited for one of my friends who got the digital boxed copy, so we both have the exact same content, and he finished the first 2 chapters before we started raid mode. Now, obviously, I finished all 4. We haven't really compared what we have, because it doesn't really seem that there's actually that much between unlocks. So we've been playing raid mode for the last couple of days. We've unlocked 3, 6, 7, 8. I think it's 8 chapters altogether. 4 of which are normal, and then I think 3 more are hard, and then 1 is very hard. And we've done some of the dailies, and there's 2 new event missions at the moment, but I'll get into them shortly. So that's pretty much the start of it. So what is raid mode anyway? Raid mode in Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2, in 1, by the way, it just felt like a kind of tacky add-on. It didn't really do much for me at all, but it's actually much more enjoyable than this, which I'll get into the reasons why now in a minute. But Resident Evil Revelations 2 raid mode is basically like a kind of shooter, a third-person shooter crossed with a little bit of Borderlands / Destiny / RPG elements. So it's got some good stuff in there. There's multiple different characters. All the characters have different skills and specializations. They all have their own individual levels as well. And what happens is you pick a character. Say, for example, I'm using Wesker. Now, well, Wesker's my main character. My Wesker at the moment is level 18. I have other characters ranging from 1 to 10, but Wesker's my main. So what you do is you boot up raid mode. You go in, you pick your character, you customize the skills and weapons they have. At the start, there's minimal amount because you haven't unlocked anything. So you go in and you pick a mission. So, argument mission 1 for the purpose of this, because let's just say you're level 1. You get thrown into a random area from, well, I say random, but it's each mission has a specific stage, but you know, it'll be random depending on which one you pick, essentially. So it'll take you into a specific stage, usually from either what I've experienced so far anyway, Revelations 2, Revelations 1, or Resident Evil 6. The three of those games have had areas which have all had an appearance so far. And you're working your way through, depending on the mission you're doing. There's a couple of different variable objectives. You usually have one at a time, and you'll come up as you progress through the game, or through the different levels, and as you work your way up to new chapters and stuff, you come across different enemies of different levels, and some of them have different abilities and things like that. So in the sense, it's kind of like small Destiny / MMO elements. I should have said Borderlands. That's far more better comparison. But for example, there's enemies that can do fire damage to you. Obviously, they take increased damage from ice, and they will explode when you kill them. You have ice enemies, which take increased damage from fire, which will freeze stuff and will explode and freeze stuff when you kill them. You have lightning enemies, which I can't really find what they're weak against. I just kind of shoot them in the head or the weak point. But they will obviously shock people, and when you're shocked, you take increased damage. So if you do get shocked, you got to be careful. They also explode, and they can do massive damage when they do explode, just like the others. But there's all different types. Like there's poison, there's slow, there's death countdown. There's ones that buff the enemy just to kind of like a big bully version, make them big, physically bigger and stronger, more health, more defense. That's just some of the main ones off the top of my head. There's also some cool ones. Well, it's cool in theory, but when you come up against them, it's a bit of a bitch. So, I mean, you've got 3 enemies running at you. One of them has like a leadership bonus kind of thing. Any enemies close enough to him will have a tether, like a line. And that line will depend on the color, will depend on either, I'm not sure if it's the type of enemy or the type of buff that they have, but it will buff other enemies. So, for example, you might have, just the other day when we were playing it, I came across, I don't even know what to call it, there's a big boss monster, if you will, and it was gold with gold are extremely tough, but they're weak to critical hits. They don't have much HP, but they're weak to critical hits. And he had the buff icon, so there was 2 other enemies nearby him, and one became poison and the other became, I think it was fire or ice, I don't remember which. And it adds a nice dynamic into it, because you don't just go in, kill all these enemies, kill 50 enemies and you're done. It's not just that. So you have to kind of focus on specific characters. You level their skills up. Whenever you do level up, you get skill points. You can put skill points into upgrading most of your skills. They can, depending on the skill, you can actually unlock it on other characters, which it varies from skill to skill and character to character. But once it's maxed up, you can unlock it on specific other characters for a massive amount of cost points. Like, I think it was 50 skill points I think I saw to unlock one of them. One person's skill on a different character. And that's just 50 points just to do that. And by comparison, you generally get about 5 points per level. Now, there are some exceptions. Like, when I hit level 10, I got 10 skill points for that. But on average, you get 5 skill points per level. And upgrades cost increasing amounts. Like, level 1 or 2 might cost you 2 or 3 points. Then you get up to like maybe level 6 or 7 on that particular skill, and it's going to cost, the points cost is going to go up. So it's nice to have a customizable degree of it, of what your skills and your character can do. Now, mentioning the customizable stuff is, like in the Borderlands style, weapons will level up. I won't say level up with you, but as you're progressing through the missions, you can find chests. And in these chests, you get what are basically blueprints. You can pay the in-game currency that you earn for completing missions and killing stuff, and for selling in-game items as well to the NPC store. But you use that to evaluate these blueprints, and they will turn into different weapons. Some of them will have pre-made stats on them or pre-made upgrades. And you constantly get weapons in around your own level. So like my Wesker, like I said, is level 18, so he's finding weapons ranging from 16 to maybe 20, 21. And as you're grinding your way up until you get like to a relatively high or maybe even max level, a lot of this stuff is just going to go through fast. Because, I mean, I'm buying a new Samurai Edge, which is a good handgun. I'm buying a new Samurai Edge every 3 levels or so, because even though there's a weapon parts customizable thing, which I'll get onto now in a second, you'll actually, a weapon maybe 3 levels above with no upgrades will pretty much be considerably better than a weapon 3 levels below with full upgrades. So it can get a bit confusing and overwhelming at first, but if you've played any game like Borderlands or, God forbid, Destiny, you'll actually, it will be a familiar system and you'll know what to do. But the real part is going to start when me and my friend hit level I don't even know what the max level. I think it's 100. But when it'll start when we hit the max level, we're getting those level 1, what I think is level 100 guns. We're putting our parts on, and that's when the real end game starts. It's like Diablo, it's like Borderlands, Destiny, it's all that kind of shit. Now, I mentioned customizable a second ago, so we'll move on to the next part, which is the part system. Now, almost every gun has slots, and slots can put in parts, and parts range from more damage to less recoil, to bigger clip sizes, to better reload speeds. There's even some other ones that give, if you deal the killing blow, you get more XP. If you deal the killing blow, you get more gold. When you kill enemies with the killing blow, you get a percentage of your health back. There's tons of different ones. So it really makes a nice addition that, you know, it's like, okay, I use this, and this weapon, and, you know, this is my playstyle. I play from far, or I play from up close and personal. You can customize your favorite and strongest weapons using all these individual parts. Now, yes, there's some parts that can't be mixed and matched. For example, you can't put 2 parts of the same type on the same weapon at the same time. So you can't put clip increase 1 and clip increase 2 on there. You'd need to, you know, put like 2 or something else. There's also some special parts that aren't compatible because they do something similar. So, you know, and this is only at level 18, so who knows what's out there at the top. The parts, like the weapons, can be, well, I won't say the parts can be leveled up in a separate way than the weapons. The weapons, you need to find or buy new ones at that appropriate level. The weapon parts you can either find in those chests and the blueprints, or you can also buy them in the in-game shop with the in-game currency. Or what you can do is you can upgrade them. You can combine 2 level 1s to make a level 2. And that goes all the way up. Parts range from, some of them have a max level of 1, some of them have a max level of 5, 7, 10. I think 20 is the highest I've seen at the moment for a part. But most of my stuff is level 2. So, well, most of my parts are level 2 because I haven't got to the point where I can actually upgrade past level 2. I think my next upgrade allows me to upgrade stuff between ranks 3, 4 and 5. So I'm looking forward to getting that, at least, anyway. But that's pretty much it. I will mention one other thing, just because I made a video on this in the past and there has been a lot of issues with it in the past, is that yes, there are microtransactions in it. I took a look at them just for argument's sake. Some of them are, like in my previous video and that have been discussed on websites and all that before, is you have the microtransactions for what are essentially continues. Now, because a level is fairly short, an average raid mode level will last anywhere between about 4 and 7.5 minutes. So it's also fairly hard to die so far. I mean, I think I've died twice and my friend has died, I think, once. So, you know, it is fairly hard to die, but in the aspect of continues, there's red gems and blue gems. They both do exactly the same thing. The red gems are the ones you buy with actual real life cash, and the blue gems are the ones you can earn in game. Now, you start with a couple of them. I can't remember if you start with 5 or 10 blue gems in game, but what you can actually do is there's daily missions. Oh yeah, that's another thing I have to get into in a second. Actually, there's daily missions, and daily missions will give you certain rewards depending on the mission and the day. What you can do is, you know, some days you might have a mission, you finish it. Like the one I did yesterday, for example, it gave me no blue gems, but it gave me 50,000 in-game currency. The one I did today, it gave me, I think it was 30,000 in-game currency and some blue gems. So you're never really in short supply of them, and unless you're dying a lot, or now it remains to be seen what happens at end game level or on the much harder levels, but so far not dying a lot, so might not even need them. There are also a couple of little weapon packs. They seem to range from like €1 to maybe 3 or 4, but you can buy an individual weapon and it will give you loads of high level parts for it. My friend, for example, bought one last night. He bought it kind of by accident, which was the funny thing, because I had mentioned that I had bought a gun, but what I didn't realize, or what I thought he knew, was that I bought it using in-game currency from the in-game shop, whereas there is a pack that sells that gun and loads of high-level parts for, I think it's maybe €4 or something like that, maybe 2, 3, €4, could even be 1. But he bought that, and he was explaining to me later on. I was like, oh, well, you can just put on those level 20 parts. I'm like, what level 20 parts? He goes, oh, the ones you bought the Chicago typewriter, didn't you? He goes, yeah, but I bought the in-game currency. I didn't get any parts for it. I was like, oh, I bought the pack, and that's when he told me, and hilarity ensued. But yeah, that's that. And I skipped over something a minute ago that I wanna talk to as well. You also have well, I'm not going to go into the daily and event missions just yet. Just one other thing as well that I forgot to mention. There's essentially 5 medals. Every medal you get in a run increases your bonus at the end of it, essentially. You've got the... I'll probably even forget about this. Let me see if I can do this. I'm counting off my fingers here. You have the medal for killing every enemy in a level. Most levels, say, just for example, say you have 30 enemies to kill. The actual exit will open up after maybe 25, and then you'll get like 5 more, and usually bigger, stronger, faster enemies. And if you can kill them, you get the bonus for killing them all. You get a no herb medal. Pretty self-explanatory. Don't use a herb. Now, funny enough, we actually figured this out. For the no herb medal, you can die, use a blue gem to revive, and still get the no herb medal. It's literally as long as you don't hold right bumper. This is one of the few games I play with a controller on PC, by the way. But as long as you don't hold right bumper and use a herb, you still get it. There's the challenge medal, which is each level has a recommended character level based on the difficulty and all that kind of shit. And if you complete it with a character on the same recommended level or below, you get the challenge medal. There's one other that I seem to be forgetting off the top of my head. I don't remember what it is, unfortunately. But those are the main 4. And if you get all those 4 in one level, you unlock the 5th one by default, which is the oh, come on, what is it? It's the one for completing all the medals. It's you essentially you get a medal for getting all 4 other medals. So that's how you get 5. That gives you the biggest bonus, if you will. So that's the majority of everything. I'm just going to touch on the last 2 things really quick, and then we'll end it because this video is getting way too long. So the last 2 I want to touch on are daily missions and event missions. Now, daily missions are pretty much what they sound like. Every day, it seems to be between like 3 and 4 o'clock BST, which is GMT +1 because daylight savings time. They seem to be daily missions in around those between 3 and 4 those times that they have specific objectives. Now, usually they're not fairly hard. They're like today there was kill all enemies on one level, recommended level 1. So you just throw on any character, and that's it. And like I said earlier in the video, that one gave me, I think it was 30,000 or 50,000 gold pieces. I think they're called gold pieces. And it also gave me some blue continue gems. And the other mission today was complete. It was a character restricted one, so I had to use a specific character, and I had to do it with that character fit into the recommended level requirement, which means the experience was even better. And that one gave me, I think that one just gave me loads of gold. So they update every day to keep it a little bit fresh. They're not especially hard, except one of the ones yesterday, which was a nightmare because I didn't realize it because I had a level 1 character. It was a character locked one yesterday, and I had a level 1 character, and the recommended level was 18. And even though the level of my weapons and upgrades were fairly high, like most of my weapons were in around 16 plus, but even though, just because of the sheer level difference in my character, the damage suffered, his health suffered, and I couldn't do it the way I was happy with. Right, last up is event missions. So Event missions they take place what seem to be weekly or other unspecific, or irregular specified amounts, if you will. Because we only started a few days ago, when we first turned it on, there was already one underway. There was probably ones beforehand that we didn't know about. But this one is a level restricted challenge. So I'm not 100% sure how it works, but the lower you can finish it in a level, the better. It recommends level 50, so we haven't even tried it because we'll probably just get destroyed. But it recommends level 50, and apparently the lower level you can finish it, the better. So, I'm not sure how that one's going to work. I assume it gives some sort of massive bonus because it's some sort of special event that's a limited time only. I think it runs out on either the 4th of the 4th or the 6th of the 4th. I don't remember. And there was another event mission which actually started today. You and the community have to team up, essentially, not all in one game, but you team up to take down a giant enemy. So I loaded up this level to try it out, and this one runs until the 30th of this month, so there's still a good few days left on this because it was only added today and it still has a couple of weeks. But what I'm going to do, or should I say, I went in, it loaded up a level from Resident Evil Revelations 1, specifically a part of the story mode, but it's actually something that is used fairly often in raid mode as well. And you have this huge enemy. He's literally like 50 stories high, off in the distance, coming in from the sea. So he's just perpetually walking, and it's just perpetually walking. And he's going to arrive, if you will, on the 30th of April. And I started shooting him anyway. I started chipping away at him. I was doing like 1 and 2 damage per hit, so I was like, fuck this after a few minutes, and I gave up. And then when I left, there was the exit was already there, but when I left, it gave me a different screen to come up, and it said damage dealt 157. So that was pretty cool. And because it's all community based, I noticed his straight away when I entered, his health bar was maybe 10, 15, 20% already gone. So it seems that it saves other people's progress that have all joined in and done that as well, because it actually comes up, and this was in the post screen as well, actually. But like it said, damage dealt 157, and underneath it said enemy health remaining 6,794,882,866. So that's a fuckload of health. So that's why it's everyone in the community has to chip in and do as much damage to that as they can, preferably doing all that damage and killing it before 3 weeks from now or before 4 weeks from now on the 30th when the event ends. It'd be curious to see what we get in that as eventual progress. And I personally know that once I level up even more, I'm actually going to continue trying it, and I'm going to chip away at them whenever I can. Hopefully help out even more, because when I level up I get much better weapons, much better much better skills, and I'll do a lot more damage with my parts and all that kind of shit. So far, yeah, I think the fact that this video has lasted 24 minutes already kind of says it all, that I'm actually really enjoying Resident Evil Revelations 2 raid mode. In Revelations 1 it felt kind of tacked on and it wasn't really enjoyable at all. In this, because of the amount of detail and everything they were hyping into it, that I was actually a bit excited to play, and I did think it looked good, and now that I've actually started playing it, it is fairly good. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'm really looking forward to where it's going to go and how much more I'm going to get done and how much my character will progress in the meantime, and what I can actually make out of it at the end, and hopefully before I get bored, but I doubt I will. It seems to be the kind of thing I can just pick up and do, especially because I'm playing a co-op a lot of the time with my friend. So let me know in the comment section below of this extremely long, overly long, unplannedly long video about your whole thoughts and experiences with Resident Evil Revelations 2 raid mode. Doesn't matter what console or PC, it's all there, it's all valid, because raid mode is raid mode. Let me know what you think about it. hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter because I got some cool stuff going on over there anyway. And now, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I'll see you on the rest of the videos in my channel while I go play some more raid mode. Take care, everyone.